Hi, everybody. I'm just waiting for the camera to turn on. Here we go. All right, so it's been a busy week. There have been a lot of topics to talk about. I have not forgotten about Obamacare. I actually called my senator this week and let him know that he is a piece of shit. And, there's I'm committed to reporting the stories that I find important, and by reporting I mean talking to people that are actually directly affected. Now, if you think that that's sort of grandstanding and I'm looking for problems instead of really putting myself into perspective, then there's nothing else that I can do for you. I can't force people to care about a topic, but Venezuela, just so you know, is the topic that is going to be the great forgotten tragedy of this generation. And I'm sorry to be the person here to come and try to bring a little more perspective and I don't want to say moral guidance to anybody, because there are a lot of really horrible places around the world right now. If you go to the Philippines, if you go to Iraq, the recent ISIS tragedies have not really made it to the media that much because of this obsession in the United States, at least. I don't know if some of you people are in Germany or Australia, but in America, we're getting constantly fed a number of stupid topics like the Trump-Russia narrative, as well as what's going on with McGregor and Mayweather, which is fine. People need their entertainment. I watch certain series on Netflix like Glow, but I just posted and publicized my my new series. It's called Testigos Venezuela, and it means Venezuela Witnesses. It's a pretty simple title, and all I'm trying to do here is to bring attention to a country that is literally collapsing day by day without any sort of real involvement from anybody else. Now, I'm not. I've already said on a number of occasions, for example, in Syria, I don't believe in sending our troops there, even though I do believe the government is abusing the people. However, in Venezuela also, I have to reiterate, I don't think the United States needs to be intervening in other countries right now, but we have to be doing the correct course of action in order to prevent these criminals, these regimes that are pretty much led by tyrants, from continuing to abuse people. Now, does that mean invading them, or does that really mean just giving them their economic treatment, the right economic treatment? That might involve withholding business from them. So I think that Venezuela is an excellent case, and you can disagree with me. I'm actually looking. I will be looking next week for some Chavistas, if there are any willing to talk to me, that would want to defend their government and their regime's record. I'm totally fine with people still believing in an idea that I find ridiculous. After all, I have spoken to some Scientologists in the past. I think that they were, yeah, they were pretty much Scientologists. And people think that the things that I believe are bullshit, right? And you might think, what is this guy wearing blue lensed glasses you know, and I wear these because it kills the glare better than my clear ones right here. And also because of the suggestion of one of my guests. We have to start focusing on the stories that are actually of real importance. And by real importance, I mean they're remarkable. Venezuela was a country that they had anything that they needed to succeed in terms of resources, in terms of an educated base of professionals, in terms of a favorable business climate, in terms of good products coming out of there, and of course oil. So I really think that hold on. So somebody else actually contacted me about a different interview, but it's really a problem right now that there is a massive world out there, this universe of media, and they're all chattering constantly, 24/7 on Twitter, on all these social media, and they're putting memes up, you know, the Keck memes and whatever, which are that's what people want to put up. That's fine, people can put them up. I enjoy them as much as the next person, but there's a lot of important stories that are getting lost in the mix, and I think that this is the one that is my next big project. Obviously, you've seen some of my other ones, the ACA Today, the For Real News, which kind of spawned this, and there's of course, the Bill and Hillary Clinton Presidential Penitentiary Library, which is really all for my pleasure, and you can all go fuck yourselves if you don't enjoy it, because there's nothing more enjoyable than curling up on a hot summer day in the air conditioning and reading about Hillary Clinton pretending that she brought peace to Ireland. But, you know, I can shoehorn every single topic. Look at me. I'm here on YouTube, and it doesn't matter who the fuck is listening. And I've seen other YouTubers say the same thing, you know, all the big ones. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to change my attitude towards what I want to cover. Just there was one video I did that had the most coverage of anything I did. It was far and away, massively, disproportionately more successful than everything else that I did. And that was on the CNN blackmail. Could I have gone and milked it for all it was worth, or gone into one of like Philip DeFranco's show? It's all about the most current events. So he always knows how to get onto the trending. That's fine. That's what he wants to do. I'm not going to judge. Obviously, he's had success at it, and I think he's you know, he does a good job at whatever analysis he does. He's not some sort of you know, histrionic nutcase like people who are on real TV. That's the irony. What I'm getting at is that there are people on this platform, and there's people that you know, it might be one or two people that watch this video, but I believe that those one or two people are just as qualified as me or anybody else to do this job. And I actually said that to one of my interview subjects, who she's we're talking about doing it after the Testigos interviews are over, or, you know, when there's a little more time for both of us. And she asked me, you know, why do you even do this? Because this isn't my job. I'm not a journalist. I make assemblies all day. That's what I do. I make assemblies for customers, for an industry that's totally unrelated to this, complete as far away from this as you can get. So why do I do it? The reason I do it, and I told her this, is that if there's anything special about this time, it's that we can now prove that the people who call themselves journalists and have this as their phony baloney jobs, they can no longer say that they can do their jobs better than we can. We can do it just as well as they can. Hell, there's people that are doing that. They're doing much more exposure for their stories than CNN or MSNBC ever could, or even the BBC is in huge hot water right now. Why? Because everything that they do has to be basically riding a horse in a race against an actual Ford Mustang. That's what they're doing. and they don't think they do, because they have these shiny studios with all the new technology and all the best bells and whistles, and all the hairdressers and staff and researchers and editors and all that pool. They think that they have the advantage. It's the opposite, because while they have all those advantages, they also have all those constraints, and we don't have those constraints in terms of what we want to represent and what content we want to talk about. And that's the benefit of doing what it is that I do, and what I hope some of you will start doing too. Just bring attention to topics that you find interesting for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be, it would be very easy for me to say that my heart aches for the people of Venezuela. And, I do have definitely sympathy for those people, because I've met some of them. And I see what problems they've had. And my mom had, not as drastic of a situation, but that's one of the reasons she came here to America. She wanted to have the opportunity to choose whatever, to choose to live in a society where she would have choice. She chose to come to a place where there would be choice. Where she came from, there were not many choices. It was restricted. My dad had a similar story. But with Venezuela, it's almost like we're taking an opportunity, as twisted as it is, to watch the complete and utter collapse of this theory that socialism could work in a society where they have the proper tools in place. They have the proper tools in place in Venezuela. And, matter of fact, it's not like Cuba was a decrepit hole in the middle of nowhere when communism took it over in the 60s. Cuba had a lot of advantages compared to Haiti and other countries near it. What has Cuba become today? People leave Cuba, they flee, and I'm gonna try to talk to people from Cuba and Brazil, other countries that are affected by this whole trend, the ALBA, or the Bolivarian socialism. I'm gonna try to talk to people like that, because we're talking about countries that, yes, there's awful inequality, and there's peasantry, and often these Aborigine people, or indigenous, as some people would call them, like the Quechua and the Aymara, I think that they're called in Peru, that they don't enjoy nearly the same quality of life as people in the cities, and there's massive disparity of income. I'm not denying that, and I'm not saying that the system that I believe in guarantees happiness for anybody, but that's the difference. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm just saying there's an opportunity. What they're saying is that we have to make it possible for everybody to be equal. And then once they talk about the possibility, they say we have to force it to be equal. It's not even creating the opportunity, it's forcing the result. It's like fixing the game. If you fix the game, what's the point of even playing? And that's my opinion on socialism. Now, if there's people who are willing to come on here and debate me about the merits of socialism, whatever type of socialism you want to call it, I don't give a fuck. Could be democratic socialism. You could be a Marxist-Leninist. You could come on here and talk to me about it. I've had people on here I don't agree with, and we've had great conversations. I had Kareem from Black Lives Matter, which is an organization that I don't agree with at all. I've said some pretty, sharp comments about them on this platform, and we had a fine conversation. Matter of fact, I enjoyed it very much. I think he enjoyed it too, and we might do it again. I've talked to two white nationalists, and I think we learned a little about why their ideology is not necessarily, there is some hate in it, but it's not necessarily the same as portrayed in popular media. These are not the American History X white supremacists. They're very clear that they believe in a white identity. Fine, I don't believe in it, but it's their right to believe in whatever they want. And now I'm talking to people like Gabrielle from the last interview from Venezuela. And you know what? If people don't want to pay attention, then it's kind of their choice, and it's their loss, in my opinion. But if people want to do it better than me, I think that they can. I think YouTube affords you the opportunity to do these types of projects today that no other platform has allowed in the past. And if YouTube won't let it happen in the future, then somebody else will come and it's the genie is out of the bottle. Okay, the canon's been invented; it can't be uninvented. So this is why I do it. This is why I talk about all these topics: Obamacare, the minimum wage. I talk about all those topics. I don't care about anything that, obviously I'll talk about the NFL once in a while, or I'll talk about Kaepernick. I'll talk about baseball, Miggy Cabrera, which is related to this. But this is why I talk about it. And a lot of people, I'm actually going to write a piece, so I have to go now. I actually have little time left. But a lot of people don't really care about these topics, and the reason why would kind of surprise you. So everybody have a great weekend, a good Shabbos, for those of you that know what that is, and enjoy your evening. And you can message me or ask for a certain topic, and we can talk about it. You can call in or something, or I can explain something to you. And it's going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot more to do on this medium. Believe me, I don't think I'm going anywhere, and I think some of you are going to start coming in here and doing the same thing that I do.